that's fine. Or if one of the photos is from you, unmute yourself and leap in with a comment. So thanks very much, Dan. Over to you. Okay, well, let's blocking someone's driveway.
Thanks, Rhonda. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
All good. Okay, so if you want to compete with Ralph, you got to send in videos. And this is Backhouses Situadora. I hope that's streaming okay. Ralph and I did a test.
It's a little bit more jerky than it was on our test, but not too bad.
Okay, that's probably because my kids are at home using the internet, I would say. Yeah. So that's Backhouses Situadora from Ralph, Lemon Myrtle. That's Ralph is sending 3 videos. Oops, I got to get to the next one. They don't go for very long. Acacia cognata. Ralph's just showing that off with the video there, quite nice. That's a New South Wales species, which you're probably familiar with. I haven't come across it in the wild very often, but it grows down the south coast, sort of south of Nowra, in sort of sandstone country. But I haven't seen it in the wild as far as I know. But very popular in all sorts of different sizes in cultivation. Ralph's got one more, which is showing 2 plants, Grevillea sericea, the pink spider flower. Oh, that's not playing yet. Oh, how about that? I think I got a second video of Ralph's underneath, but focus on the center one. Pink spider flower, a local species, and Philotheca myoporoides, another New South Wales species as well. That grows a bit further west. Some close-up shots. We see this plant a bit. It's pretty popular. Good bee attractant as well, as you'll see there. And he's got a native bee too. There's a Philotheca, your long-leaf wax flower. Really beautiful plant. Not the easiest to grow Philothecas, but Ralph's got that one growing beautifully. Sensational, Ralph. Great shots.
I want to just point out the glands on the stems, the Rutaceae.
Yes, if you get, like Rhonda said, a lot of these Philothecas, they're sort of glandular or very glandular, and normally they emit a very strong odour, a citrus-like smell. They're related to citrus, and some people find it unpleasant, but it's certainly very strong. So there's oil glands in there, and the other sort of glands as well, packed full of oils. Thanks, Ralph. That's fantastic. So moving on from Ralph, this is from Tony Porritt, a whole set of photos from him. Grevillea flexuosa, or the zigzag grevillea from Western Australia. It's an endangered species in Western Australia, growing sort of east of Perth in the Jarrah country, but it's a beautiful plant in cultivation. And just reinforcing what we learned last month, I'm sure we remember, I've thrown in the fly as well. That's a dipteran, or if you remember Dita's talk, the flies are in that group. If you've forgotten it's a fly, it's got 2 wings, and you can probably see those compound eyes as well that are typical of flies, but that's a beautiful plant. Could even be a native fly, I'm not sure, but sensational. Moving on, Tony's growing Duinia floribunda. I haven't seen this being grown before, but another beautiful species. It grows in the Sydney area, but I don't see it so often. I see it more north of the harbour. It's sort of Booty National Park and Brisbane Waters National Park and Murugamara and places like that. But you can probably find it in the Royal, but I just don't see it very often. I see other Duinias instead. But you can get these really long, I almost think of them like a sort of little corn cob. They're like a little corn cob shaped bunch of flowers that grow right at the top of the stems. So you can get a lot more flowers than that in about a 10 centimetre long structure or more. So it's quite showy. I don't know how easy it is to grow. We sort of don't see a lot of Duinias being grown sort of naturally in people's gardens, I should say. So Tony's done a great job with that one. But that's Duinia floribunda. He's got this beautiful orchid, Tony, a Dendrobium tetragonum. This is a New South Wales rainforest orchid. I'm not familiar with it at all. It's the first time I've seen it. I had to look it up, probably because I don't do a lot of rainforest work. Does anyone know anything about this one or want to say anything? I saw Margaret was here tonight. If anyone wants to add anything about that, looks like it's an epiphytic rainforest orchid in New South Wales and in the Illawarra rainforests and places like that. Beautiful plant. Tony's also sent in Dryandra nivea, or now what's now called Banksia nivea. If you don't know, the Dryandras have been renamed Banksias. That caused a meltdown in the Western Australian Horticultural Society. But Tony's got this one growing, the honeypot Dryandra. It's common in Western Australia. It's not endangered or anything. I don't know too much about growing it unless anyone wants to chip in and say anything about it. But the foliage is very nice. And Tony didn't really tell me too much about it, but Tony's got a real variety of plants that he sends in. It's quite impressive. So if you like Banksias, you might want to try a Dryandra, which basically is a Banksia as well. Tony sent this one in. He's up in the ante a bit here, a whole cluster of plants. We'll have to all go check out Tony's garden one day. Leschenolchias, the blue flowered plant from Western Australia, growing really well there. Such a stunning colour. And then he's got Aeromophila maculata is the yellow flowered one, I believe. And then the Aeromophila decipiens, the red flowered one further down. And the Grevillea sinife that we saw, I think a couple of meetings ago, right in the right corner, back far right corner of the picture. So he's really showing off there, Tony, but it's a brilliant display. The Aeromophilas, they grow in Central Australia, very easy to grow. Beautiful plants with those range of colours, nice big flowers too. The Leschenolchia, I think, is a bit trickier to grow, and he's got a close-up of that there too. I think you got to germinate the seeds with smoke water, I think, and I think other members grow these as well, but I think they can be temperamental. Remember to jump in with your comments if you want. Thanks, Tony. And he's got one more. I've just put in here. Tony, you just emailed that it was Hovia linearis, but it's not linearis. It's acutifolia is what I think it is. Linearis has got much narrower leaves and is a smaller shrub, but I think that's Hovia acutifolia, though it's very similar to Hovia lanceolata. But I've seen these growing at Joseph Banks. They're a New South Wales species in the sort of central Western Slopes and Tablelands areas. They're really beautiful. I grew one of these for about 2 years. I got it to flower twice and then it fruited and died. It just kicked up its heels. Might have been due to poor drainage, or they might be short-lived. I'm not sure.
Well, Dan, I will say that the Hovias seem to be very fast-growing plants.
Yes.
So there's usually that trade-off. If it's fast-growing, it's not necessarily going to last as long. And the other thing I think that's interesting about this photo is it seems to be in full sun. And normally the Hovias are really good for a shadier spot. So they're one of those rare plants that grows well in shade, flowers in shade, and is fast-growing. So a good sort of filler spot for a shadier area.
Sure, yeah. I have heard if you grow them on a slope, and at Joseph Banks, I've seen them on a sandstone slope, they're doing really well. Yeah, but that's all good points, Rhonda. But with those purple flowers, you'd probably be disappointed when it finally dies, but you'll get a couple. Hopefully, you get a couple of good seasons out of it. It's a really nice plant.
Seed because the seeds pop out of the seed pods, and then you'll get lots of little ones coming up. Yep.
Beautiful. That's it for Tony. We've just got two here from Gwen Harden, Acacia vestita, or the weeping boree. It's from central New South Wales, or the Western Slopes and the Tablelands. Beautiful plant. You can really see those wattle flowers in those globular heads there. Just linking onto Roseanne's talk. You know, if you wanted to have a go at drawing a wattle flower, you'd have to get your tweezers and sort of tease one out of those balls there, or those globular heads. Each globular head can have about 50 flowers. So every individual wattle flower is very tiny. And then you get these sort of secondary arrangements where they're sort of grouped into these racemes. But it's a really great photo that Gwen's taken there of the flower, the inflorescence, or, you know, flower structure of wattles. It's beautiful. But the flowers are tiny, but you can tease them out and sort of have a close look at them with a hand lens. And Gwen's also growing, this is a sort of popular one. It's an endangered species in the wild, Zaire prostrata. I know Peter Shelton mucks around with this one as well. It's confined to headlands around Coffs Harbour. It grows on the coastal headlands around Coffs Harbour. It's endangered, but it's been common in cultivation for a fair while now. Propagates from cuttings. It's another Rutaceae member. It's a really nice ground cover, hence the name Zaire prostrata. But Gwen's got that growing really well. Nice little dainty plant. Talk to Peter Shelton a bit more about that one because he likes to propagate it. Then a few photos from Jill started coming in, and Jill sent me the sign as well, so I put that on. And I think Jill did look up and at Wollongong Botanic Gardens and saw Dendrobium terridifolium. This was another Dendrobium I wasn't familiar with. I had to look up this one as well. But again, it's a New South Wales coastal species. And Gwen's taken some photos of this one here. Quite beautiful. I'm not sure what tree that's growing in the Wollongong Botanic Gardens. Jill, do you know what tree it was? Is Jill there?
No, but it was well marked, like you were wandering along and then there, without the sign, you would never have looked up, and I've never seen anything like it.
Yes, beautiful. Yeah, on PlantNet, I quickly looked it up. It says they grow almost exclusively on Casuarina glaucus, the swamp oak, but they can grow on rainforest trees as well, but a lot less commonly. That's what it says. But I've never seen those growing on Casuarinas, but it's really beautiful. Another epiphytic orchid. It's got a distribution right up and down the really close to the coast in New South Wales, and I think interstate as well. But another one I was not familiar with. Thanks, Jill. Terridifolium pretty much just means tubular foliage.
I might just put in a plug here for the Wollongong Botanic Gardens. So
yes.
I think it's probably a bit of a well-kept secret. I mean, the locals might know about it, but it's really worth a visit. It's not that far from a train station. It's right near the University of Wollongong campus. So I'm sure there are some possibilities for a campus flora type up there as well. But it's a lovely garden to walk around, not necessarily that big, but, you know, enough different areas to look at. And I noticed Clarence Slockey on Gardening Australia the other night filmed a segment in one of the Australian sort of gardens there. It was lovely, sort of photographed in front of the sunlight. But yeah, it's definitely worth a visit if you haven't been there for a while, the Wollongong Botanic Gardens. Thanks,
Rhonda. I'll totally second that. Yeah, and I stopped in there with my kids a month ago on the way back from Bateman's Bay. Yeah, it's nice. It's got, if you've got grandkids, it's got a really cool kids playground as well. You can dump them in there while you check out the gardens.
I took this photo last week, so as long as the wind hasn't disturbed it, it should be there.
Nice one. Thanks, Jill. Jill, I got a bit stumped here, but the best I could do is Acacia gordonii. Do you know what it is? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, it definitely is Gordonii.
Okay.
It was labelled as that, yeah.
Nice one.
I bought it at one of the regional meetings.
Okay. That was a bit of a guess on my part. I was flicking through the Fairly while Roseanne started her talk, but yeah, it's a blue mountain species, I believe. Grows up in the mountains, the higher mountains. Might get a little bit onto the tablelands, but a beautiful wattle. I don't know much more about it than that. It grows to about 1.5 meters tall in the wild. Are you growing it in a pot there?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Well, with those flowers, well worth growing. Yeah, nice one. Okay, glad I got that one. Jill's also got Banksia blecknifolia. Look, I've put in there, it's the ground cover Banksia. It's not really called that, but that's what it's called in horticulture because it does create that dense ground cover. Blecknifolia, foliage like a Blechnum fern or the fern leaf Banksia. It's really nice. What can you tell us about growing that one, Jill?
Oh, it was there for several years before it actually flowered, but I just love the velvety, the colour doesn't show well there. I mean, it's much more a maroony red, rusty red, but it really looks very beautiful with the velvety surface.
Nice, beautiful. Nice one. Okay, and you've got this one too, and I had to guess here as well. The best I can do is Acacia elongata, but I don't know if that's right.
Well, when I was leaving the council nursery a year ago, they had about a dozen of these at the exit saying freebies, and they were just in a little tube stock, and they were about 1.5 meters high, and they were really like root bound. They'd obviously found them in a corner, and I took 3 of the dear little pets to see if they could survive and just stuck them in, and yeah, they look really good. They're very happy.
Nice one.
So what is it? Elongata, you think?
Well, yeah, Jason Salmon might want to chip in on that one, but now you say you got them from Sutherland Nursery, I'd bet more that they're elongata, but they might be something else.
You're correct, Dan. Well done.
Oh, thanks, Jason. All right, okay. All right, well, if they're elongata, I've seen them growing on the edge of the Lucas Heights sports fields when you walk into the bush there, that awesome microclimate up there where you can freeze to death watching a soccer game. But if you're heading to the bush off that athletics track and places like that, you can see some Acacia elongata with beautiful flowers like that growing right on the edge there. That's one of the spots I remember seeing it, but I haven't seen it too far else afield.
I think that's where we collected from, out in that Lucas Heights area.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, mate. That all pieces together well. Yeah. Beautiful. Jill, nothing like free plants.
Nothing like free plants. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah. We're halfway, guys. Halfway. Grevillea sericea by Jenny. Another, Ralph showed it before, but it's a beautiful plant. Jenny's got this one growing really well. Look at the number of inflorescences there. Give it a prune, you'll probably get a few more. And like I said, I see bees on this thing quite a lot. Just at growing there, that's a really good natural habitat shot on sandstone outcropping and, sandstone gullies and places like that. So that's a really good one from Jenny.
That's just our garden.
Yeah. Jenny, you stumped me a bit here, but because there's a lot going on, but it's fantastic plant ID. But I got the Canetia rubicunda first with the red pea flowers.
Yep.
And then I think it's growing in amongst an Acacia longifolia, which sort of looks more like the Sopherae version, which goes on the beach. But would that be accurate?
The Canetia, yeah, it's obviously a wattle, but I don't know what sort it is. It was just there in our garden. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what it is.
Nice one. Well, longifolia can be a bit variable. And the longifolia subspecies Sopherae, which grows on the sand dunes on the beach, has sort of the shorter, fatter leaves and more of a sprawling thing. But it's a variable species, and you've got a leaf in the centre left there of possibly a cheese tree or something like that, but someone else might have a better idea. But there's a lot going on. That's good. That's good. Nice and dense. Good for the fauna. And then you just had a second photo, the Canetia rubicunda again, beautiful flowers, but it looks to me like this time it's growing in amongst a water gum. Would I be right?
Yeah, that's going through a hakea.
Oh, it's a hakea.
Yeah.
Right. Which hakea is it? Dactyloides or?
Oh, I can't remember.
Okay.
Salicifolia.
Salicifolia. Thanks, Jason.
It's got the single mid vein there.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I was a bit rushed tonight, but you're right. I just looked at that bark and thought it might have been a Tristaniopsis, but you're right. Hakea salicifolia. I'll make a note of that one. But that's nice. That's nice, Jenny. Yeah, that Canetia is really nice. There's no other pea really with flowers like that for Sydney plants.
It's just taken off and growing through everything. But it looks
yes,
really
yeah. After a fire, if you get a spot with Canetti or Ubicunda after a bushfire, they go nuts. They're absolutely, they can cover the ground really quickly. Beautiful. Oh, you've got a seedling there. I thought it could be any number of things, but Jason might want to have a look and some other people.
I know it's right next to its parent plant, so it's pea plant.
Right. Right.
Perhaps a Dilwinia retorta,
Yes.
maybe.
I don't know if you go to the actual bush and oh no, not that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see another photo from you. I don't think. Was there another photo?
There should be some pea flower. Oh, I hope I picked it up. I may have missed it.
Oh, okay. Well, you have showed Dilwinia retorta before. Maybe it's that.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that anyway. I'm sorry, I might have missed one photo, but I'll try and get back to you on that one.
Yeah, that was meant to just be the
yeah
a little full stop to the other one.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, all right, I'll check out your photos again. We're moving on to Heather now. Can someone save me with this grevillea? You know I'm hopeless on these grevilleas. Anybody?
Is it elegans?
Oh, good, Rhonda, that'll do. I'm not too sure.
Elegance.
Excellent. Thanks, Karen. Growing really well. Yeah, Heather, that's a nice one. Look, I know I've got all these typed up on the database, but I just can't learn all these grevillea cultivars. But that's one of the taller ones, I think, Rhonda, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, 3-4 meters.
Yeah, 3-4 meters. Yeah, beautiful. The linear dissected foliage, really nice flower color. That's a nice one, Heather. And then Heather had a wattle as well, which again, I think Heather might be Acacia longifolia again. This time it's got sort of narrower, longer foliage, but it is variable, and you get the flowers and the spikes. It could be Acacia longissima as well. That's another Sydney species. But did you buy this one or plant this one, Heather, if you're there?
I need to unmute.
Unmute, sorry. I purchased it, but it didn't. I got it from Phil, so I didn't have any labels, which is always a problem for me. I desperately need the labels.
That's all right. It's a problem for me too when I plant things after a while. Yeah, I think it'd be Acacia longifolia, but it could be a slightly different one as well. But it's got all the appearances of Acacia longifolia. Beautiful. Got that growing really well.
It's
Nice.
grown very quickly. If anyone wants quick growers, it's fabulous.
Yes. Yeah, those acacias and peas, they get up quickly. That's beautiful, Heather. Now, this is stunning. This is one of my favourite photos of the batch. I think it's Grevillea longifolia. I just put in a dash there. A splenifolia is a very similar plant, but I was keying it out just an hour ago. If you've got leaves wider than 15 millimetres, it's moving towards longifolia. Is that what you think it is?
I don't have a clue. I'm sorry. It's another one I got from Phil.
Yeah.
But the leaves are really long.
Yeah.
Is it a shrub or a ground cover?
No, it's actually it's not a ground cover.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Sorry,
if
it's just the angle. I had to take it at because of the lighting there, and it's got that other acacia behind it.
Nice one. Longifolia grows along in Heathcote National Park, along Kangaroo Creek and places like that. You can go and find it. It's not listed as threatened, but it's sort of considered to be a little bit rare. And a splenifolia grows a bit further west, up in the Blue Mountains, around Lake Burragarang and places like that. Well, maybe not quite in the Blue Mountains, and it's on the sides of the roads there, and they're protecting it there because it is considered. It might even be listed as threatened, but they're two very similar species. But the flower colour that you've captured there is just fantastic. Really nice.
Oh, thank you.
It's
a
real
lovely plant.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shot. Yeah, they're really easy to grow. I have seen them around here and there. They're beautiful. All right, 10 to go, people. 10 to go. Grevillea from Heather again.
Candelabra.
Candelabra, right? Beautiful. Look at that. Really nice.
It's known as the fake waratah.
Fake waratah. I'll write that down. Nice one. How long have you been growing that for, Heather?
That's been now about 4 years, I think.
Right. That's really nice. Beautiful. You prune that?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Good one. That's really beautiful. Yeah. Nice plant. Heather's also got Senna artemisioides, a New South Wales species from sort of central New South Wales. You can find it. Grows to about 3 meters, 2 meters tall, that sort of height. I think, again, Peter Shelton likes this one. We might have even exchanged, he might have even given me some plants in times past, I think. If you can get it to do that, that's what you're aiming for, what Heather's done there. It's really beautiful. I'm just thinking now it might not be artemisioides, but it might be.
What seems to happen is that the foliage can vary from grey to green.
Right.
Sometimes it looks green, sometimes it looks grey.
Okay, so yeah, it was more the leaf segments, but I think it is. I'll run with it anyway. But that's beautiful. That's really, really nice. So they're related to peas and wattles, but they're just in their own subfamily. But they will produce a pod like a pea or a wattle. So again, they might have that nitrogen fixing ability to grow really quickly. But again, I tried growing one. I tried growing 2 here. I think I got them from Peter and they died. It would have been the drainage, I think. But
native bee attracting as well, that one.
Yes, thanks, Ralph.
Yes,
yeah,
I do get a lot of native bees.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, and Heather had Eremophila maculata, which you saw in Tony's garden before. Again, it's a plant, central Australia, Western New South Wales, that sort of area, but really common and popular for us as well. They grow beautifully. Nice big yellow flowers. Really nice. Moving on to Des and Mari. Got about 7 slides left. Des, and Mari, I had a guess here, but it's Pterostylus curta. One, because it's got that twisted labellum in the flower, like a tongue that's sort of twisted. And my other guess was because it's commonly sold in pots. And I know Margaret's here tonight, but I always see Pterostylus curta sold in pots. But that's a Sydney species. You can find it in bushland at the right time of year, and that's a beautiful pot you got going there. Really nice. One of the green hoods. They've shown more photos of their xanthorrhea, which I think is glauca. If they got it from northern New South Wales, I think Mari said in the last meeting. But the flowers are developing further. It'd be great if they could keep sending this in and show us the flower spike developing, but you can see that there. It's going to be quite nice when it comes up. And I guess this is a second plant you're showing here, Mari, is it? Have you got 2 of these growing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One's at the front, one's at the back. This is the one, the back one's the one that was 4.5 meters last year, just one, and now it's got 2. And this is the one that we got from around the border range.
Yes.
That was propagated. And the other one at the front, the one was the first year we've got a spike. And we got that from Phil about 15 years ago. It was already, well developed.
Yep.
So they're really, it's just wonderful watching them, and it's so exciting.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, those flower spikes are reaching 2 meters, but
yes, and they're still growing. But I'll when the flowers come out, I'll do a close up and send that for you. Then when they come, yep.
Beautiful. Thanks, Mari. Beautiful. Now, Des and Mari sent me a whole heap of fungi, which I put all together on one slide. You probably know once we get a whole heap of rain, you can see a ton of these come up, especially in autumn, I find, in Sydney bushland. But if you're familiar with any of these, probably the funnest one to talk about is the one in the right top corner, the red star fungus. If you've ever put a whole heap of mulch down, you can get these coming up quite readily. They smell absolutely horrible if you've ever picked one up, and they almost do look like they've got a bit of dog poo sitting on the inside of them, but they smell like rotting meat, and you'll see flies in there, either getting trapped or visiting them or whatever. They're quite common. You see them all the time, but you can play tricks on people by getting them to smell them. This orange one in the middle is quite common too. It's like a citrus skin looking fungi a lot of the time, and it just breaks down dead material. So that's what's called a saprophyte, where they're breaking down dead wood rather than a live wood. And I'm not sure about the other ones. We've got a bracket fungus, typical on the left upper corner. They tend to take out trees sometimes. So that's a really good variety of fungi there, Murray. That's fantastic.
Mm. What are the little brown ones at the bottom on the right?
I don't know what those little brown ones are. Does anyone else know? I have seen them. I'm not sure what they are. You can get things like that coming up in your compost heap sometimes, but they're a nice little toadstool of some sort, yeah.
Yeah, we've got two lots, one out the front around the woolly bush, and then there's another lot at the back in one of the wine barrels with a small xanthorrhea, and just amazing. And I was looking at it, I thought it looked interesting, all these different ones, so that's why I thought I'd take photos of them and send them in.
So interesting. Yeah, thanks, Murray. Yeah, if I had another lifetime, I'd get into fungi for sure. Yeah, they're amazing. John Arney has been out and about and has sent in a beautiful Sprengelia incarnata, a plant that grows in the Royal in Sandstone Heath. I think there's only one Sprengelia you have to learn, and this one's it. A beautiful apacrid. I'd say it'd be really difficult to grow. I'm not sure if anyone's seen it in cultivation, but in the wild, they're spectacular. John got a second apacrid as well, Styphelia tubiflora. That's another common one in Sydney sandstone. You tend to get it in sort of concentrations in the Royal, and then it disappears, and you sort of find it, don't see it, and then you find it elsewhere. But on rocky ledges and coastal heathlands, it's very showy, beautiful flowers. Is John here? John Arney here tonight?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, this one really got my attention. This is the last one he sent in, and the last photo of the night, folks. But I think that's Eucalyptus camphildii, which I have never seen in the wild. It's an endangered eucalypt. It grows in the Royal, and it grows in northern Sydney as well. With fruit like that, and you can just see the buds in the background as well, and those sort of leaves. I can only think that's Eucalyptus camphildii. So I really want to talk to John, and I could strangle him for not being here, because I want to know where he was and where he got that.
I could tell you the location of one, Dan, on Main Bar Road.
Yep.
If you're heading in towards Main Bar, on the left-hand side or the western side, it goes into there's a bit of like a gravelly car park.
Right.
And there's a I guess it's an illegal four-wheel drive track that's being sort of half closed off. But if you walk down there, not far, you'll come across them about head high.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, awesome. Do you reckon that's what that is?
I think so. Yeah, they've got that funny little ring around the where the calyptra comes off, and so
that's right. I've never seen fruits like that. I mean, my first thought was eucalyptus. The Port Jackson mallee. Oblique. What is it? Obstance. Yeah, but it's not. It's not that at all. Yeah. So they're beautiful fruits. The colour is sensational. So I've got to hit up John about that one. But that's a threatened species. That it is known to be in the Royal, and where Jason is talking about. Yeah, but it's one I still haven't come across. So I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. That's it, guys.
Well, I think a round of applause for Dan for putting all those photos together, and thanks very much to everyone who sent them in as well. So I'm going to